Hey Reddit. Throwaway because my wife stocks everything, even my grocery receipts. I'm a 34M, she's 32F, and for the longest time I thought we had a perfectly stable, if slightly dramatic, marriage. I work from home, she has a job with flexible hours, her words, not mine, and I've always just trusted her. Her personality? Imagine a storm in human form. She can go from sweet to hysterical in 0.2 seconds. If I ask a simple question like, "Hey, did you move my charger?" I get a monologue about how I'm always accusing her, followed by crying, followed by cold silence, followed by, "Why don't you love me anymore?" But I always chalked it up to stress. She always had an excuse. Hormones, my boss is horrible, you're too calm and it stresses me out, etc. I ignored a lot of things. Like the way she hid her phone like it was a nuclear briefcase. The new habit of whispering on calls and then claiming she was talking to the bank. Those late nights out because of work emergencies even though her company literally closes at 6. The random bursts of hostility whenever I asked how her day went. But I trusted her. Honestly, maybe too much. The first crack in the perfect illusion happened last month, completely by accident. I noticed a notification pop up on our shared tablet that said, "See you tonight, don't be late again." I thought it was for me. It wasn't. Before I could tap it, the message disappeared, she had remotely cleared it. That was the first time in our entire marriage that something inside me said, something is wrong. Very wrong. I didn't confront her. I didn't know how. Instead, I watched her that evening. And for the first time ever, it felt like she was acting. Overacting. Laughing too loudly, hugging too tightly, calling me honey every 10 seconds as if saying it enough times would erase a ghost message. And then came the outburst out of nowhere. "Why are you staring at me like that? Are you judging me? You always judge me. I can't take this anymore." I hadn't said a word. I went to bed with a knot in my stomach. And then something happened at 3 a.m. that changed the entire direction of my life and started this whole series of events I'll be posting here. Around 3:07 a.m., I woke up because I heard a sound, a soft vibration. Not from my phone. Not from hers either, or so I thought. It was coming from inside her purse on the floor. She always sleeps with her phone under her pillow like a paranoid spy, so the purse buzzing made no sense. Half asleep, I assumed it was a work message and reached to turn it off so it wouldn't wake her. Except when I touched the purse, she bolted upright in bed like someone hit her with a defibrillator. "What are you doing? Why are you snooping? Why would you touch my things?" She snatched the purse, practically hugging it to her chest, eyes wide, breath shaking, not scared, but caught. "I thought it was your work," I said calmly. "It was vibrating." "No, it wasn't. You're imagining things. You're always imagining things." Except it buzzed again. She froze. Then she threw the entire purse to the floor like she wanted to break whatever was vibrating inside it, and snapped, "I can't sleep with you attacking me all the time." She stormed out of the bedroom, slamming the door. I lay there staring at the ceiling, the adrenaline burning. Something was going on. And the way she panicked wasn't normal, not even for her. 10 minutes later, she came back pretending nothing happened. No apology, no explanation, just, "You're overreacting. Go to sleep." But I couldn't. The next morning, she acted like her dramatic explosion was a perfectly reasonable reaction to a vibrating purse. Made me breakfast, kissed my head, overly nice. Classic post-outburst reset mode. I thought that was the end of it, until the tablet synced again. At noon, a message appeared on the shared calendar. Lunch at the usual place. Where something cute, this time face blowing a kiss. It was labeled under her personal account, the one she didn't know was still logged in on the tablet. I clicked it. The location history popped up. She had been going to the same cafe, a place she told me she hated, almost every day for the last 3 weeks. At lunchtime. During her supposed work emergencies. My stomach dropped. I realized something huge. Her hysterics, the gaslighting, the blaming, all of it wasn't random. It was strategy. Distraction. Noise. She was covering something up. But I still didn't know what. There was no clear cheating. No affair spelled out. No person identified. Just patterns. And then the universe handed me a twist I wasn't prepared for. That afternoon, someone messaged me on Facebook. A name I hadn't seen since high school. "Hey, I think we need to talk. It's about your wife." So the Facebook message came from Daniel, a guy I hadn't talked to in at least 10 years. We weren't close, but we had mutual friends. No reason for him to contact me out of nowhere. I stared at the screen for a good minute before replying. "About my wife? What do you mean?" He immediately typed back. "Not over text. Can you talk?" Great. Perfect. Exactly what every husband wants to hear on a random Tuesday afternoon. We hopped on a quick call, and to this day, I swear I could hear him hesitating the entire time. Like he didn't want to be involved but felt like he had to. He finally said, "Look, I don't know what she told you, but your wife contacted my sister. A lot. It's been weird. She keeps talking about how unhappy she is and how she needs support. She's been showing up at her store, crying about you, saying she's scared you'll leave her." My sister said it felt like manipulation. Like she was trying to build a story. Or an excuse. I don't want drama, but something isn't right. I had no idea how to process that. My wife barely knew Daniel's sister, they met once, years ago, at a wedding. Why would she go to her of all people? I thanked him, told him I'd handle it, and ended the call, with more questions than answers. And then, because the universe has impeccable comedic timing, my wife walked in the front door right as I hung up, hours earlier than her supposed shift was supposed to end. She was flushed, smiling like she'd won something, and holding a shopping bag. "I left early," she said. "Don't act suspicious." Suspicious? I hadn't even spoken. She tossed the bag on the table and started rambling about how stressful work was, how everyone is against her, how I never appreciate her sacrifices, and how she could have stayed out but came home because she's a good wife. Then the theatrics escalated. She accused me of looking at her weird. She accused me of planning something. She accused me of checking up on her at work, which I hadn't done. She spiraled into crying, yelling, blaming, then switching to hugging me, then back to yelling within the same 3 minutes. It was like watching someone play emotional roulette. But here's the thing, during all that chaos, her phone lit up twice. Both times she slammed it face down before I could see anything. And then, right when she was catching her breath from yelling, the third notification popped up, loud vibration, unmistakable. She froze. I froze. She whispered, "Don't look at it," and physically covered the phone with her hand. Not normal. Not even by her standards. She grabbed the phone, rushed to the hallway, and started whisper arguing with someone, angry hissing, like a secret fight. I caught fragments. "No, not now. I told you. He's home. Stop messaging me. Are you insane?" Then silence. She came back smiling like nothing happened and said, "Let's order dinner. I want sushi." As if she didn't just have a meltdown followed by a clandestine hallway fight with some mysterious person. And then, because apparently this day needed one more twist, the tablet chimed again. A new synced calendar alert. Tonight? Same place? This one wasn't hidden. This one popped up right in front of both of us. Her face drained of color so fast I thought she'd faint. She whispered, "That's not mine. It's a glitch." A glitch. Sure. And that was the moment I realized. I wasn't dealing with a stressed partner. I was dealing with someone hiding an entire double life. I didn't confront her. I simply said, "Okay." And for the first time, she looked nervous. Like I was the unpredictable one now. After the calendar glitch incident, my wife became erratic. More erratic than usual. Sudden mood swings. Random affection. Then sudden accusations. A constant state of acting, like she wasn't sure which script to follow. But the real shift happened the next morning. I woke up earlier than her and went to make coffee. While the machine warmed up, my phone buzzed. Shared device activity detected. The tablet again. A synced notification had appeared, this time from a Notes app. Remember, delete chat at 2 p.m. From her account. A reminder to delete a chat, set on a shared device she forgot I had access to. I didn't touch it. I didn't open anything. I just stared at it, coffee going cold. I was starting to see a pattern. Mysterious messages. Hidden contact. Sudden work emergencies. Emotional volatility whenever questioned. New outfits appearing with no explanation. A growing fear in her eyes every time the tablet chimed. And under all that, something more dangerous. She was building a preemptive narrative that I was paranoid and controlling. I didn't confront her. I didn't say a word. I wanted facts, not theatrics. Around noon, I overheard her on the phone. She forgot I was home because I was working quietly in the living room. She went to the kitchen and started whispering. Her voice was sharp, angry, but trembling. No, I can't disappear again today. Yesterday he almost. He saw the reminder. No, listen. Listen. Silence. Then, in a panicked voice. Fine. But not for long. She hung up. She came out of the kitchen and nearly jumped when she saw me. I pretended I was focused on emails. You startled me, she said too quickly. Then, I need to run an errand. 10 minutes later, she rushed out the door wearing something much nicer than errand clothes. That was my moment. Not to follow her, that would lead nowhere. Instead, I checked the tablet again. The delete chat at 2 p.m. reminder had vanished. Deleted remotely. But the device logs showed something else. Multiple logins to a new, unnamed messaging app she had never used before. The username was hidden, but the location log wasn't. She wasn't going to a store. Or work. Or a cafe. The GPS pinned her in a residential neighborhood across town. A neighborhood with no shops. No offices. Nothing but houses. Someone's house. My hands were shaking. Everything pointed to one truth. She had a separate life happening somewhere else. And I didn't even know who the other person was. Not a coworker. Not a friend. Maybe not even someone I'd ever heard of. But fate or karma wasn't done yet. At exactly 2:04 p.m., a stranger knocked on my front door. Are you, my name, he asked. I nodded. He exhaled like he'd been holding his breath for years and said, We need to talk. It's about your wife, and about what she's been doing behind your back. You're not the only one she's lying to. The man at my door looked exhausted, like someone who hadn't slept properly in weeks. Mid-40s, worn jacket, anxious eyes. Not someone I'd ever seen before. I'm not here to cause trouble, he started. But I think we've both been played. Not exactly comforting. I let him in because he seemed genuinely distressed and because at this point, everyone except my wife seemed more honest than her. We sat at the table. He took a deep breath and said, My niece works at the same place as your wife. She's been worried. She didn't want to get involved, but she finally told me something and I couldn't ignore it. My pulse spiked. She said your wife's been spending a lot of time with someone. Someone who doesn't work there. Someone who visits her. Someone she lies about. He kept talking, but my brain was stuck replaying that word. Someone. Not a name. Not a gender. Not a role. Just a presence. The man looked at me with sympathy. My niece said your wife comes in late, leaves early, disappears for hours, and tells everyone a different story every time. She even told people different things about you. Like what? I asked. He hesitated. That you're controlling, that you make her scared, that she stays at friends' houses because you don't let her sleep. I stared at him, stunned. That was the exact opposite of reality. I'm practically made of patience. She was painting me as a villain in a story I hadn't even realized she was writing. He continued. And there's more. Someone saw her in a parked car outside the building last week. She wasn't alone. They said she looked guilty. Like she was hiding. Still no identity. Still no specifics. Just shadows. But then he delivered the twist. My niece said whoever she's meeting might not know she's married. I felt something cold grip my spine. Why do you think that? I asked quietly. He pulled out his phone, scrolled, and turned it toward me. A screenshot. A blurry one, but unmistakably from a social media profile. My wife's face. A fake name. Single. Recently moved to the city. No mention of me. No mention of her real life. A double life. My stomach dropped so hard I almost stood up. I whispered, "What is this?" He shook his head. I don't know who she's seeing. But she seems to be building a whole story around herself and around you. And not a good one. The final blow? She told some people you two are taking a break. That you don't live together full time. I sat there, numb. I didn't yell. Didn't cry. Didn't throw anything. I just thanked him for coming. When he left, I locked the door, sat down, and stared at the wall for a long time. My wife wasn't just lying. She wasn't just hiding things. She wasn't just emotionally entangled with someone. She was creating alternate versions of herself and using those lies to protect whoever she was meeting. And then, because my life had officially turned into a twisted miniseries, my phone lit up. A new message. From an unknown number. You don't know me, but I think your wife is lying to both of us. I stared at the message for a solid minute. You don't know me, but I think your wife is lying to both of us. No name. No context. Just that. My hands were sweating when I typed back. Who is this? 3 dots appeared. Stopped. Appeared again. Whoever it was, they were debating what to say. Finally. I can't tell you over text. Can we talk? I've been dealing with her lies for months. I didn't know she was married until yesterday. My vision tunneled for a second. Until yesterday? Which meant someone, whoever they were, had just discovered the truth. I called the number. A woman answered. Her voice was shaky but angry. Controlled anger. Okay, she said. I don't know where to start. I'm not trying to cause drama, but your wife has been contacting me under a fake name. She acted like we were close, like she trusted me. She told me things about you that I won't even repeat because they were clearly made up. My chest tightened. What did she want from you? I asked. She sighed heavily. That's just it. I still don't know. It started with her being friendly. Then emotional. Then she started showing up at my workplace randomly. She'd confide in me, cry, talk about her complicated situation. She implied she was dating someone who wasn't treating her well. At one point, she said he was dangerous. I froze. Dangerous. Just like the story she told Daniel's sister. She never said a name, the woman continued. But she made it sound like, you. Of course she did. My coworker recognized her yesterday, the woman added, sounding almost embarrassed. She showed me your wife's real name. Real Facebook. Real life. Real husband. You. I felt sick. So, what do you think she was doing? I asked. I think she was building a safety net, she said. I think she needed somewhere to run to if things fell apart with whoever she's been seeing. And she used me for that. Manipulated me. Lied to me. The puzzle pieces weren't just falling into place, they were forming a whole different picture than I expected. My wife wasn't simply having some secret emotional affair. She was building multiple versions of herself like a con artist. A user of a fake profile. A scared woman inventing a villainous husband. A victim seeking sympathy from random acquaintances. A single person new in the city. A dramatic tornado sucking strangers into her crisis narratives. Why? To cover something. Someone. The woman on the phone said something that still haunts me. She's dangerous in a quiet way. She lies like she's breathing. I'm sorry you're going through this, but whatever she's planning, you need to protect yourself. Before I could respond, I heard the front door unlock. My wife was home. She called my name, cheerful and breathless, like she'd been running. I got you something, she chirped. The woman on the phone whispered. Be careful. I hung up. My wife walked into the living room with a shopping bag and a smile way too wide, eyes too bright. What are you up to? She asked in a sing-song tone. But the moment she glanced at my phone, her face changed. Just for a split second. Fear. Real, actual fear. She masked it immediately, laughing too loudly, stepping close, hugging me like she was claiming territory. But I noticed something else. Her perfume wasn't hers. Not even close. Someone else's scent was clinging to her. And the worst part? She noticed me noticing. Her smile dropped. Don't start, she snapped, suddenly defensive. Don't you dare start. I hadn't said one word. That evening was one of the strangest of my life. My wife paced the living room like she was rehearsing lines. 1 second she was overly sweet, draping herself over me, asking what I wanted for dinner. The next, she was snapping at me for being distant, accusing me of plotting something, demanding to know who I was talking to. I kept answering calmly, which seemed to agitate her even more. At one point she stopped, stared at me, and said, You're hiding something. I almost laughed. Me? Hiding something? She stormed off to the kitchen, muttering under her breath. A few minutes later, I heard something vibrate. Her phone on the counter. But she wasn't in the room to guard it. For the first time in months, it wasn't glued to her hand. The screen lit up before I could look away. A preview popped up. Not a name. Just initials. And a message. We need to talk. What you said today doesn't match what you told me before. My heart dropped. Someone was questioning her story. She must have heard the vibration because she rushed in, snatched the phone, and pressed it to her chest like she was protecting a newborn. I didn't react. Which made her even more frantic. You're trying to look. Why are you trying to look? You don't trust me. You never trust me. She was spiraling fast, knocking things over, pacing back and forth. Finally she yelled. Stop staring at me like that. I wasn't even looking at her. I was looking at the floor. Her hysteria wasn't random anymore, it felt like panic. Like she knew I'd seen enough to start pulling threads. And she was right. Because the moment she locked herself in the bathroom, I grabbed the tablet. Checked the synced notifications again. A new one had appeared just minutes earlier, probably triggered when that mysterious message came in. A notification from the same unnamed app. Account flagged for multiple identity inconsistencies. Review required. Identity inconsistencies. She wasn't just lying to me. She was lying to whoever she was messaging. Lying so much that even the platform recognized her double life. The situation was snowballing out of her control. Then, from the bathroom, I heard her voice, whispering angrily, arguing again. No, listen, we have to. I told you he doesn't suspect. No, you misunderstood. Stop panicking, okay? I'll fix it. I always fix it. I took a deep breath. It clicked for me then. Her entire life at this point was a web of contradictions. She was telling different stories to different people, and the lies were crashing into each other. She came out of the bathroom with red eyes but a bright, fake smile. "Let's forget today happened," she said in a sugary voice. I nodded. And then, as if karma timed it perfectly, her phone buzzed again. This time, she wasn't fast enough. A text lit up the screen, full preview visible. "We need to meet. Now. Everything is falling apart." Her face went ghost white. She locked eyes with me. And for the first time since all of this began, she looked genuinely terrified. Not of me. Of the other person. Of being exposed. Of losing control over the lies she'd built her world on. Then she whispered something I'll never forget. "I have to go. Don't follow me." She grabbed her coat, her keys, her bag, and ran out the door. Literally ran. I watched her through the window as she got into her car and sped off like her life depended on it. She wasn't going to a cafe. Or her workplace. Or an errand. She was going to meet the mysterious person from the messages. Because the world she built on lies was collapsing. And she was desperate to patch it before someone, maybe even me, discovered the whole truth. Little did she know. I wasn't the only person watching her anymore. The moment she sped off, I felt something strange. Not anger. Not despair. Clarity. For once, her chaos wasn't controlling me, I was just observing it. Like watching a storm destroy itself. I sat back down on the couch, replaying everything. The fake profiles. The panic attacks when messages came in. The lies she fed strangers. The emotional traps. The whispered arguments. The mysterious someone demanding emergency meetups. The fear in her eyes when things stopped lining up. She wasn't just hiding an affair. She was juggling multiple realities, and one of them had finally cracked. I thought about what the stranger at my door said. What the unknown woman said. What the workers at her job supposedly witnessed. Everyone saw a fragment of her truth, and none of them matched. She wasn't just unfaithful, she was unstable, deceptive, unpredictable. I didn't follow her. But about 20 minutes later, someone else did. Just as I was considering calling a friend, my phone buzzed. A text from the unknown number, the same woman who had warned me earlier. "She just showed up where I work. She's looking for someone. She seems panicked. I thought you should know." I blinked. She wasn't meeting a lover. Not yet. She was trying to control the narrative first. Trying to silence the people who knew too much. Trying to fix her collapsing web of lies. I texted back. "Who is she looking for?" The reply came instantly. "Not me. Someone else. A man. Looks older. She keeps calling him, 'You said you'd protect me.' I don't know who he is." A man. Older. Protect her? My stomach twisted. But before I could respond, another message came. "Wait. They're arguing. Loud. She's saying you're going to ruin everything." He's telling her to calm down. People are staring. Another message. They left together. She's shaking. He looks angry. And then, "Do you want me to follow them?" I didn't answer. I stared at the phone, weighing my options, when suddenly another notification popped up, this time from the tablet. A synced location ping. She had forgotten to disable location services on her backup account. Her device had connected to a Wi-Fi network labeled Ridgeview Apartments, guest. Not a workplace. Not a cafe. Not anyone's friend's house. An apartment complex. My heartbeat slowed to something steady, cold. She hadn't just gone to meet someone. She had gone somewhere she felt safe lying. Somewhere she thought no one would find her. Less than a minute later, the unknown woman texted again. They just arrived at the Ridgeview complex. If you're going, be careful. Something feels off. She and the man were both headed to the same place the tablet just pinned. Coincidence? Not with my wife. I wasn't planning to confront her. I didn't want drama or violence or scenes. But I wanted confirmation. I wanted truth. So I did something I never thought I'd do. I got in my car and drove to Ridgeview. I didn't go inside. I stayed in the parking lot, engine off, headlights dim. 10 minutes of silence. Then the apartment door opened on the third floor. My wife stepped out onto the balcony. She wasn't crying. She wasn't scared. She was yelling at someone inside. Wild. Furious. Hysterical. Accusing them of ruining everything. Accusing them of not sticking to the plan. Accusing them of letting him find out, him meaning me. She screamed. I told you to shut up and delete everything. I couldn't see the person inside. But I could hear a deep voice reply. You told me 3 different stories. Which one was I supposed to believe? My wife shrieked. The one that makes me look good. People on the balconies nearby were watching. Someone recorded it. My wife kept spiraling. You're supposed to protect me. You said you would fix this. You said he'd never know. Then came the sentence that made my pulse spike. You promised you'd help me get away with it. Get away with what? I leaned forward in my car seat, heart hammering. And that's when the apartment door flew open. The older man stormed out. My wife grabbed his arm, shook him, screamed. Don't you dare leave me now. He shoved her hand off. Not aggressively, fed up. Exhausted. Done. Then he said the words that shattered everything. I'm done lying for you. Tell him the truth yourself. He walked away. My wife collapsed to her knees, screaming into her hands, her whole body shaking. I stayed hidden in the dark, watching the one thing she could never manipulate. Karma. Finally catching up. In real time. In front of witnesses. And that was only the beginning. So remember how she claimed she and her coworker, aka the guy she was cheating with, had cut all contact? Yeah. About that. 2 days after the divorce papers were in motion, I got a message from an unknown number. It was his wife. She sent a whole folder of screenshots. Not just texts between them, videos, voice notes, plans, hotel bookings. And the best part? There was a time-stamped message from my wife saying, "Don't worry, he's too stupid to catch on. I'll bleed him dry before I move in with you." Oh. I didn't even get angry. I laughed. Like actual I'm losing my mind laughter. Because this whole time, she'd been acting like I was the villain for wanting a divorce, yet she was literally plotting to financially gut me so she could run off with Mr. Deadfish personality. But karma wasn't done. His wife told me their marriage had blown up because my wife tried to convince him to divorce faster so she could move into his house. She actually said this line. My husband doesn't even like her. She's delusional. Apparently, he never promised her anything long-term, he just enjoyed sneaking around with someone who admired him. When his wife confronted him, he panicked and threw my wife under the bus instantly. My wife thought she was getting a new, glamorous life. Instead, the guy ghosted her after everything exploded. So she tried messaging me. First voicemail I got from her. We can fix this, you're overreacting. I didn't really say those things, I was just venting, we're meant to be. Then. I'm coming over so we can talk like adults. No, she wasn't. I had already changed the locks. Then came the meltdown texts. The classic cheater playlist. You're ruining my life. I didn't cheat, it just happened emotionally before physically. If you loved me, you'd fight for us. You owe me stability after everything I sacrificed for you. Oh, and the immortal one. This isn't karma, it's cruelty. Funny how they always think their actions don't count, but consequences do. And the best part? Her co-worker blocked her on everything once his wife threatened to expose him to HR. So now she had no affair partner, no home, no financial leverage, a divorce she couldn't stop, screenshots sent to her family, and zero control over the narrative she had been spinning for months. Karma wasn't just knocking. It was tap dancing on her front porch with fireworks. So while she was busy blowing up both of our phones, crying about misunderstandings and second chances, Karma decided to take a little detour. Straight to her workplace. Remember how she cheated with her coworker? Well, their HR department has this very strict policy about relationships, especially when one of the parties is in the process of divorcing and the other is lying to their spouse about business trips. Apparently, his wife wasn't bluffing. She really did forward the screenshots. And not just the friendly texts. The hotel confirmations. The nudes my wife sent him from the office bathroom, yeah. And every message where they trash-talked their spouses. A full digital crime scene. 2 days later, I got a text from a mutual friend. Dude. She's been suspended. Turns out HR hauled both of them in separately. He denied everything. She tried her usual routine, crying, gaslighting, acting offended that anyone would dare accuse her. But HR had the receipts. Literal folders. She didn't get fired right away, but she was put under investigation, and from what I heard, her promotion path evaporated instantly. She had spent years bragging about climbing that corporate ladder. Now she was at the bottom with a broken rung. Meanwhile, the guy she cheated with? His wife went nuclear. She told HR she was filing for divorce and naming my wife in the paperwork. Apparently that's allowed in their jurisdiction. He panicked. He blamed my wife for everything. Told HR she seduced him, pressured him, manipulated him, the whole melodramatic victim routine. My wife expected him to defend her. Instead, he dragged her under the bus so hard she probably saw tire marks on her soul. Cue another one of her voicemails to me. They're lying. He's making me look like some kind of homewrecker. You know I would never. I stopped listening. At this point it was white noise. But Karma wasn't done with its to-do list. Because the investigation triggered a review of her work messages. And guess what they found? Not just cheating. Company time misuse. Confidential info in private chats. And screenshots she sent him from inside client documents. She basically served HR a buffet of violations. Her suspension got extended. Her team was told she wouldn't be returning anytime soon. And suddenly the woman who used to brag about being indispensable was very, very dispensable. The funniest part? She tried to blame me for her career falling apart. As though I was the one sending lingerie selfies from the conference room. Karma was just getting warmed up. If her career falling apart was the appetizer, what happened next was the full 7-course karma banquet. Because once news of her suspension leaked, her friend group, the same people who used to gush about how perfect she was and how lucky I was to have her, suddenly transformed into investigators, judges, and gossip columnists. And, they were not on her side. The group chat implodes. One of the wives from their circle messaged me privately. Hey, I think you should know, she's been lying to everyone. A lot. And then she sent me screenshots. Screenshots of my wife talking behind everyone's back. Saying one friend's husband was beneath her. Calling another couple pathetic. Mocking someone's infertility. Bragging about how she could get any man she wanted. She literally wrote, "If OP ever left me, I'd level up in a week." That one stung. Not gonna lie. Apparently, once her suspension news circulated, one of the friends confronted her. My wife exploded, screaming, crying, accusing everyone of jealousy, betrayal, conspiracy theories, the full circus. That was all it took for them to eject her from the group chat. One of them told me. She said you were controlling and boring. We didn't believe her at first. Now, yeah. So now her job was in limbo, and her support system? Gone. Her affair partner's wife strikes again. Remember the affair partner's wife? The one who initially warned me? Well, she really wasn't done. She messaged my wife's former friends, the entire group, with receipts. Everything. Messages, timelines, even a voice note where my wife giggles about balancing two men. My wife's friends went ballistic. Some of them didn't even message her, they just blocked her instantly. Others sent her multi-paragraph "You're toxic, stay away from us" essays. And she did not take that well. Cue the meltdown. She called me 14 times in 1 hour. Voicemail number 3. You're enjoying this, aren't you? You want me to lose everything. I have nothing now. Nothing. You know what I was doing at the time? Making dinner. Listening to music. Feeling the calmest I had in months. Karma's little gift to me. Here's the plot twist. All the info her friends sent me ended up being incredibly useful for the divorce. Her insults about me. Her admissions of lying. Her timeline inconsistencies. Her bragging about side attention. Her messages mocking me. My lawyer practically thanked them. And none of this required me to do anything. I just existed. Karma did all the lifting. Her message that broke me, but in a good way. 2 days later, she texted. I don't deserve this. And honestly? For the first time, I laughed. Out loud. Because finally, the universe wasn't letting her get away with it. She hurt people, lied to everyone, played games, and expected applause. But now? She was standing in the ashes of her own behavior. Everything burning around her. And I didn't light a single match. I didn't think anything else could surprise me at this point. I thought the chaos had peaked. I was wrong. So wrong. Because the next twist didn't come from her job, her affair partner, or her, now ex, friends. It came from a man I had never met in my entire life. The knock on my door. It was a random Tuesday evening. I was cleaning the kitchen, phone finally silent for once, when someone knocked. I opened the door expecting a package. Instead, I found a guy about my age, holding a folder and looking like he'd been stuck inside a washing machine on rage cycle. He asked quietly. Hey, you're OP, right? You're married to her name? My stomach dropped. Because he said her name with the same exhausted disgust I developed in the last few weeks. I nodded, bracing myself. And then he hit me with. I think we should compare notes. The stranger who wasn't a stranger to her. Turns out, he wasn't just some random dude. He was someone my wife had been talking to. For over a year. Emotionally close. Regular communication. Inside jokes. Private meetups she called errands. A whole second version of herself curated for this guy. She told him. We were practically separated. I was controlling and absent. She was confused and lonely. She had no idea how to leave. None of which was true. Not even remotely. He thought he was being her emotional rescue. In reality, she was running the same script she used on everyone. And the kicker? They were never officially together. She fed him just enough crumbs to keep him orbiting her. She built a fake relationship to feel powerful. He wasn't angry at me, he was angry at himself. And he had brought proof. The folder. He handed me the folder and said, You deserve to know who you've been living with. Inside were printouts of their messages. Her voice notes. Screenshots of her telling him, "You're the only one who understands me." Logs of meetups. A photo of her wearing an outfit she told me she'd bought for work. There was even a message where she wrote, "I'm so scared OP will find out I'm seeing someone else too." Someone else. Two. Not one affair, not one emotional attachment. A network of lies. His twist. And then he told me the part that made my brain freeze. 6 months ago. He tried to cut it off. He told her he needed distance. Her reaction? She completely flipped out. Screaming calls. Manipulative love bombing. Threats to hurt herself because everyone leaves her. Showing up uninvited. Sending long, unhinged monologues about how he was her soulmate. He didn't feel safe. That's why he came to me now. Seeing her meltdown publicly made him think, if she's spiraling again, I don't want her dragging me down. He apologized to me. Then he said something I'll never forget. I thought I was the only one she was messing with. Turns out, I was just one of her hobbies. Why this was the breaking point. All the cheating implications hurt. But this? This double life? This fictional version of our marriage she was selling to strangers? This was the moment I realized. She wasn't just a liar. She wasn't just manipulative. She lived inside whatever narrative gave her attention. She didn't care who she hurt, as long as someone fed her the validation she craved. Everything we built together? She treated it like a prop. Her reaction, because of course there was one. That evening, she blew up my phone again. Not to apologize, but to scream. How dare you make me look bad to people who care about me? Because apparently she found out the guy had spoken to me. She didn't deny anything. She just complained that her lies were taken out of context. Everything was collapsing around her. Every story she told someone contradicted another one. And it all came crashing down. Without me lifting a finger. Karma was speeding up. By this point, her life was a collapsing Jenga tower. Every block she yanked out caused 3 more to fall. But what happened next was the piece that made the whole structure crash straight through the table. Because my wife, queen of impulsive decisions, empress of lies, the Beyoncé of bad choices, had been doing something incredibly stupid with money. And karma finally sent the bill. The first hint something was off. It started with a call from our bank. Very calm, very polite. "Hello, Mr. OP. We're calling to verify several large transfers from your joint account. Transfers I definitely did not make." I asked for the details. And then the universe handed me a plot twist wrapped in financial documents. Repeated withdrawals. Random transfers to personal accounts I didn't recognize. A suspiciously expensive transaction labeled Wellness Retreat. 2 payments to an online shop I knew she used when she wanted to impress someone. And one particularly bold transfer that went through at 2:14 a.m. So I froze the account. Immediately. That was when I realized something massive. She thought I wouldn't notice because she didn't expect karma to drag everything into the light at once. Her meltdown when the money stopped. 3 hours later, she called. Not to explain. Not to clarify. But to shriek. "Why did you freeze the account? Do you know what you've done?" I asked, calmly. "What were the transfers for?" She launched into her usual drama. "I'm stressed. I'm mentally unwell because you left. I needed space to heal. Why are you invading my privacy?" I repeated. "What were the transfers for?" She hung up. Then called again crying. Then yelling. Then accusing me of financial abuse. She really tried that angle. But she never actually answered the question. Which told me everything I needed to know. My lawyer's smile said it all. The next day I gave the documents to my lawyer. They flipped through them, then leaned back with a slow, satisfied grin. She used joint marital funds to support her extracurricular relationships. That's dissipation of marital assets. You're going to get that money back in the settlement. Legal karma. My favorite flavor. Basically, the more she spent trying to impress or maintain connections with her secret orbiters, the more she ended up legally owing me. My lawyer even said, if she keeps spending recklessly during the separation, she'll dig herself deeper. Let her. And oh boy, she did. The moment everything connected. Later that evening, the stranger from Part 12 texted me again. He wrote, "Hey, she used to brag that you never checked the finances. She told me she could buy whatever she wanted without consequences." Then he added, "She once used your money to buy gifts for multiple men. She even joked that you were her accidental sponsor." I'm sorry you're hearing it this way. My hands literally went numb. Not because of the money, but because of the contempt. The pure entitlement. And then it clicked. Every girl's weekend. Every spa trip. Every emergency expense. Every sudden shopping spree during arguments. She hadn't just been lying emotionally. She'd been living an entire bonus lifestyle funded by my trust. And then the final twist. Remember her suspension from work? It turned into unpaid leave. Effective immediately. Which meant no income, no savings, no friends to lend money, no affair partner, his wife locked everything down, no access to our account, and a pending divorce where she suddenly owed me thousands. She went from "I don't need OP" to "OP, please, I can't survive without your help." In record time. She sent me one last desperate message that night. "You can't do this to me. I don't deserve to be punished financially. I'm the one who's hurting here." I didn't respond. Because karma already did. If everything before this was karma warming up. Part 14 was the main show. The fireworks. The grand finale of her lies detonating in the most painfully public way imaginable. And the best part? I didn't orchestrate a single second of it. The company-wide incident email. Remember how HR had put her on unpaid suspension? Well, they finished their investigation. And late one evening, I got a message from a friend who still worked at her company. "Dude, check your email. They just sent out a massive policy reminder. Pretty sure it's about your wife." So I did. And there it was. A company-wide memo titled Professional Conduct, Digital Communication, and Conflicts of Interest. Oh my God. They didn't mention her name. But they did everything else except literally attach her photo. The memo referenced misuse of client materials, inappropriate personal communication on company channels, failure to disclose interpersonal conflicts affecting workplace performance, breaches of confidentiality during non-work interactions. Every bullet point matched exactly the chaos she created. People aren't stupid. Everyone knew. And apparently the co-workers she'd always belittled? They were sharing the memo and joking about it in side chats. Her reputation didn't just take a hit. It evaporated. And then someone leaked the screenshots. Not mine. Not the affair partner's wife's. A coworker leaked her own bragging messages. Turns out she had been using her work laptop to rant about everyone. Including her boss. Including the HR team. Someone she had insulted privately finally snapped and shared them in a gossip thread. It spread like wildfire. I saw screenshots of her calling her boss a spineless nobody. An old toad. A joke who thinks he can tell me what to do. Those messages got back to management. So guess who got officially fired the next morning? Her social media meltdown. She didn't take it well. She jumped onto social media and posted a long, deranged tell-all rant. Claiming she was the victim. Accusing co-workers of conspiracy. Accusing me of financial abuse. Claiming she had been emotionally tortured by multiple men. The problem? Every single thing she posted contradicted something she had said earlier to someone in private. People started commenting. Wait, didn't you say the opposite last month? But you told us you were happily married. You said he abused you, but then you bragged about manipulating him? Her lies started fighting each other in the comments section. It was like watching multiple versions of her battle to the death. The internet did not spare her. The unexpected final blow. Her meltdown caught the attention of a person she never expected to see the whole situation. Her own family. Her sister messaged me. I'm so sorry. We had no idea she was treating you like this. She told us you were the one cheating. Then she added. She's been lying to us for months. We're stepping back from her until she gets help. Her own family. Done. Then, as if to sprinkle the last bit of poetic justice, her emotional affair guy from Part 12 commented publicly under her meltdown post. Stop lying. I stepped away because you were manipulating me and OP, leave me out of your drama. Thousands saw it. I didn't touch anything. Didn't say a word. Didn't fuel the fire. She burned every bridge on her own. Her message after the collapse. That night she sent me the most defeated text I've ever seen from her. Everyone turned against me. You win. Happy now? I stared at it for a long time. And then I finally replied. I never wanted to win. I just stopped protecting you from your own actions. She never responded. Her public image? Gone. Her job? Gone. Her social circle? Gone. Her narrative? Shattered. Her lies? Exposed by the very people she manipulated. Karma didn't just catch her. It ran her over, backed up, and drove over her again. I didn't plan revenge. I didn't plot anything. I didn't sabotage her job, her relationships, her social circle, or her public meltdown. All I did was stop shielding her. Karma handled the rest. But the final stage, the divorce, that Part 1 handled. Carefully. Legally. Silently. And it ended in the most poetic way possible. The divorce hearing. By the time we got to court, she was a hollowed-out version of the woman I once knew, frantic, bitter, panicked, and furious that the world refused to bend to her narrative anymore. She tried to perform victimhood for the judge. She cried. Accused me of abandoning her emotionally. Repeated the financial abuse nonsense. Insisted her behavior was a response to marital neglect. The judge listened. Patiently. Professionally. Then my lawyer calmly slid a folder across the table. Inside. Her messages bragging about using my money. Evidence of dissipation of marital assets. Contradictions in her own statements. Examples of her lying to HR, friends, family. Her tell-all meltdown post. Screenshots of her insults about me. The financial withdrawals. The memo from her employer. And a timeline showing her own words disproving her claims. She went silent. The judge actually sighed and said, "Ma'am, these are your own statements undermining your argument." She tried to argue back, but she was burying herself deeper. By the end, the judge ruled. I got the house. I got the savings. I owed her nothing. She owed me repayment for the funds she misused. She would not receive spousal support since her job loss was due to her own misconduct. Her jaw literally dropped. Her final tantrum. Outside the courtroom she exploded. You ruined my life. You're getting everything. I have nothing left because of you. I just looked at her and said, "No. You have nothing left because of you." She opened her mouth like she wanted to scream again, but nothing came out. For the first time, she realized she couldn't manipulate this. She couldn't cry her way out. She couldn't flip the narrative. Her world had consequences now, and she hated it. The safe, quiet revenge I planned. Even though karma did most of the heavy lifting, I did have one final, calculated move. I requested the judge seal the financial documents but allow the misconduct findings to remain accessible in HR background checks. Not public, I'm not cruel. But accessible to hiring managers. Meaning, whenever she applies for a new job, HR will see that she violated company policy and was terminated for cause. It's not illegal. It's not malicious. It's simply the truth following her where she goes. Her actions. Her consequences. My revenge was letting the truth stay loud. Where she ended up. A mutual acquaintance told me months later. She moved into a tiny shared apartment. She was working retail part-time. She was blocked by most of her old friends. Her family kept her at arm's length. Her emotional affair guys ghosted her. Her reputation was radioactive. She still told people my ex destroyed me. But nobody bought it anymore. Because everyone had seen the meltdown. Everyone had seen the contradictions. Everyone had seen the karma. And the most poetic part? She tried to start dating again. But every new guy found the meltdown thread, the inconsistencies, the drama, the chaos. And dipped. She wasn't just alone. She was alone with a reputation she built herself. Where I ended up. Honestly? Better. Calmer. Healthier. Sleeping like a human being again. No secrets. No instability. No gaslighting. No what lie will she tell today, roulette. I kept the house. I rebuilt my finances. I got my time and peace back. And I finally understood something. Revenge doesn't always require action. Sometimes the best revenge is letting the truth burn without putting out the fire. The end. Her lies collapsed. Her narratives imploded. Her reputation crumbled. Her relationships evaporated. Her job disappeared. And her attempts to hurt me only looped back and crushed her. Karma didn't miss. Not once. And I didn't need to destroy her. She did that all by herself.